All right, let's talk about this thing right here. I know you've heard it before, maybe in church, maybe from your grandmama. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Now, what in the world does that even mean? We're going to break it down today. This comes from way, way back. The Old Testament, the story of King Saul. God gave Saul a direct order. Go handle these folks, the Amalekites. Get rid of everything. Don't keep nothing. But what did Saul do? He did most of what he was told, but he kept the best sheep and the best cattle. He figured he'd use them for a big fancy sacrifice, a grand gesture. Samuel rolls up, not happy. He looks at Saul and all these animals. Man, what is all this? Then, to obey is better than sacrifice. God wants listening, not big empty gestures. Think of it like this. Your wife asks you to take out the trash. You decide to buy her a new car instead. The car is a huge sacrifice. But the trash is still sitting by the door, attracting flies. Is she happy about the car? Probably not. She wanted simple obedience, not a misguided sacrifice. Doing what's asked beats doing what you think is a good substitute. Now, if you think this is just some old story, you need to look outside. Mother Nature has been running this play since the beginning of time. Everything in the natural world operates on a system of rules, a system of obedience. Think about a pack of wolves. You got the alpha, the leader of the pack. The other wolves don't just do whatever they want, they follow the alpha's lead. When the alpha says it's time to hunt, they hunt. When the alpha says it's time to move, they move. This isn't about the alpha being a bully, it's about survival. Or look at a colony of ants. You ever just watch ants? They are the busiest little critters on the planet. Each ant has a job. Worker ants, soldier ants that take care of the queen. They don't wake up in the morning and decide, you know what? I'm tired of carrying crumbs. Today, I think I'll try being the queen. No, they follow the chemical trails, they listen to the signals, they obey the rules of the colony. This perfect, unspoken obedience is what allows them to build these incredible, complex underground cities and thrive. It's the same thing with the seasons. Spring doesn't just decide to show up in the middle of December because it feels like it. The trees don't decide to drop their leaves in May. There is an order, a natural law they are all obeying. The Earth tilts on its axis, it orbits the sun, and everything on the planet responds accordingly. Let's talk about the military. A soldier's first and most important lesson is to obey orders without question. Why? Because in the heat of battle, there's no time for a committee meeting. The general sees the whole battlefield, the big picture. The soldier on the ground only sees what's right in front of him. Think about one of the biggest moments in modern history, D-Day during World War II, the Allied invasion of Normandy. It required thousands of soldiers, sailors, and airmen to follow a very specific, very detailed plan. The paratroopers had to jump at a precise time and location. The ships had to arrive at a certain hour. The soldiers had to storm the beaches exactly as they were trained. If even a few key units had decided to sacrifice the plan for their own idea of a better strategy, the entire invasion could have failed, and the world we live in today could be a very different place. But it's not always about war. Think about the civil rights movement. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preached a message of nonviolent resistance. This required incredible discipline and obedience from the protesters. When they marched, they were told not to fight back, no matter what was done to them. People were yelling at them, spitting on them, and hitting them, and their instruction was to remain peaceful. That was the rule. Obeying that rule, as hard as it was their greatest weapon. It showed the world the ugliness of their oppressors and won the moral high ground. All right, let's bring this home, because this stuff matters right here, right now, in your life. Take your job, for instance. You work for a company, right? That company has a way of doing things. There are policies, procedures, and a chain of command. Your boss gives you a task. Now, you might think you have a better way to do it, but your boss has a reason for asking you to do it a certain way. Obeying the structure is what makes the business run smoothly. It's what keeps everybody pulling in the same direction. Now, let's talk about marriage. I know some of y'all are shifting in your seats right now. People hear the word obey in a marriage, and they get all bent out of shape. But it's not about one person being a dictator. It's about being obedient to the covenant you made with each other. It's about obeying the rules of love, respect, and partnership. When you and your spouse agree on a budget, being obedient to that budget is what keeps you out of financial trouble. When you agree to be faithful, obeying that promise is what keeps your marriage strong. Social life is the same way. We have all these unwritten rules we follow. You don't cut in line. You say please and thank you. When you're at a movie theater, you turn your phone off. Why? Because your obedience to these simple social rules makes life pleasant for everyone. It's a system of respect. Our society is held together by this invisible thread of obedience to shared norms. It's how millions of strangers can live together in a city without it turning into a complete madhouse. But look, I gotta be real with you. We can't talk about all the good parts of obedience without talking about the other side of the coin. Because there is such a thing as being too obedient. It's called blind obedience, and it can be just as dangerous as being a renegade. It's when you stop thinking for yourself, when you just follow orders no matter what, without using that brain God gave you. You have to have some common sense, some discernment. If your boss tells you to do something illegal or unethical, that's not the time to be a good little soldier. That's the time to stand up and say, hold on now, that ain't right. This is especially true in relationships and marriage. We talked about being obedient to the covenant, and that's important. But if one partner is using that idea to control or abuse the other, that's not obedience, that's oppression. A relationship should be a partnership of equals. If someone is telling you, you have to obey me, and using it to belittle you, isolate you from your family, or make you feel worthless, you are not required to follow those rules. Your first obedience is to your own safety, your own dignity, and your own well-being. In business, this can lead to disaster. You see it in companies where everyone is too scared of the CEO to speak up. The CEO has a bad idea, but because he's the boss, everyone just nods and says, yes, sir. They obediently follow the plan right off a cliff. This is how major companies fail. They lack people with the courage to question things, to point out the flaws. A good leader doesn't want blind obedience. They want smart obedience. History is full of terrible moments that happen because too many people just blindly obeyed authority. From Nazi Germany to the Jonestown Massacre. So the lesson here is that obedience needs wisdom. It's not about shutting off your brain. It's about knowing who and what to be obedient to. It's about aligning yourself with principles that are good, just, and true, not just with whoever is shouting the loudest.